Hello guys, hope your Easter is going on very well. I have not been posting video for quite a while. I've been tending to other matters, but I'm gradually making a comeback. I've been monitoring several pairs and I'd just like to give my outlook on what I think is likely to happen. On my screen I have pound franc GBPCHF. On the monthly time frame we're seeing we have a very strong bearish structure. But if I go to the lower time frame, I just want to go to the daily to show you what I think is going to happen. So at this point, around September, October, the pound experienced some bearish momentum. This was the time we had some geopolitical risks in the UK. I think Liz Truss was stepping down. Treasury Secretary also had some, I think, also had to step down. We had some issues in the UK, and the pound really crashed. But then again, you see, it pushed higher into the weekly supply. But as it pushed higher, it broke this structure seated here. This was the order block. This was the demand zone sitting down here, and you can see that the demand zone was not mitigated. In the process, it created a fair value gap. What I want you to look at keenly is so it formed this high, and this high formed this low. This low formed a high that never broke the previous high. Then this lower high formed a low that never broke the previous low. But if you look at it keenly, also the next high it formed never broke the previous high. So you're seeing the highs are sort of creating a downward momentum. So what is likely to happen? According to me, this is what I think will happen. They are pushing downwards, and they are yet to break this key structure seated down here at 1.1. So in the coming weeks, what I expect is that this structure will be broken. Just want you to look at this orange arrow. Also, the purple arrows are just more or less the same thing. So once they break this structure, my expectation is that they'll come back to this unmitigated supply. And where will they be headed next? They'll be heading to this fair value gap marker, if not the order block, the demand, the unmitigated demand sitting down here. So I have a bearish outlook on a GBP Swiss franc. How do I intend to trade this pair? So having an analysis is one thing, then knowing how to trade is a different thing. My expectation is that once it breaks this level, if it comes back to this region, this is where I'll place my sell orders. Sometimes the market will break a structure and continue just going down. So if it comes to this region, I'll also be looking for possible buy order. So I can trade here or I can trade here. I also want to give you my outlook on Euro CHF, which is more or less the same. Euro Swiss franc, Euro Swiss franc. So this is what is happening. It formed a high, a high formed a low formed a lower high, then a new low was formed, then a lower high was formed. So you're seeing what is happening. It has formed this high, and this high has mitigated a supply. So my expectation is that it will break this structure, possibly come to this fresh order block seated down here. Using this region of 0.95, this is likely where the market will settle. And if it settles here, so what do I intend to do? If I see a buy setup, I'll take a buy setup targeting this region. But if in the process it breaks this structure, I also have to prepare myself for this eventuality. If it breaks this, let's just draw this and we call it targeted. If it breaks this targeted structure and comes back up, I will still sell if I have a sell limit seated up here. So we have two positions again compared to the GBP Swiss franc. A buy position here or a sell position here. So again, it's a matter of waiting to see what the market will give you. One of the pairs that I'm also looking at closely will be GBPNZD. I have a strong affinity for commodity dollars, and I want to start on the monthly time frame. Allow me to push to the 3 months time frame. It has completed its full cycle. Started here, went to this high, then has come back to this demand zone. Now, we need to wait for two things to happen on the long term, and this could take years to happen. We're not saying it will happen in the next 1 month or 2 months. This could take years for us to get a definitive directive, definitive direction. It could break lower and then mitigate and come back higher, or it would come back to this region seated here, this unmitigated supply. Nobody knows what will happen, and this is something to look at in the next possibly 3, 4, 5 years, maybe even a decade. Nobody knows. But let's come back to the time frame of interest. You're seeing it's forming new lows, and every new low has come back to mitigate a supply region. So it has formed a new low here, and with this bearish momentum has been mitigated. Okay, so it formed another low, and in the process came back to mitigate the supply. It has formed another low, has come back to mitigate a supply. So you get like there's a pattern here. It's likely to form another low to this demand region. And if you come to the weekly time frame, you're seeing this bearish momentum has been mitigated. Another bearish momentum has been mitigated. So what am I expecting? Another bearish slide, possibly another bearish slide. So if I come back to the daily time frame, just allow me to bring it into focus. So this is the low that was corresponding with the geopolitical issues in the UK that I mentioned earlier. So this low has formed this high, and from this high you're seeing there's a demand zone seated here, and I want you to see what is happening. This is the demand zone that is seated right here, and you're seeing the pair came back down, mitigated this demand zone, now has come back to mitigate this supply up here. So my expectation is that we will see a strong bearish move to the downside, and this is my bias across the entire pound. Every pound, every currency that is cross bound, I expect this is what will happen. But as I said earlier, we are waiting for the market to give us information. So what are we seeing currently? It's pushing higher. This is pushing slightly higher. It could push and grab this liquidity seated up here, but once it breaks this region and forms a change of character, then breaks another break of structure, I will have a bearish bias on this outlook, on this pair. Sorry, I want to do GBP South African Rand. Exotics are very beautiful currencies. They're lucrative, but they're also risky. So it's a matter of knowing how to trade them. If we start on a monthly time frame, you're seeing a pattern here. This monthly time frame pushed and created this low, and it came back to mitigate it up here. And what is happening is that another bearish momentum has been mitigated, and it looks like it's a bullish. It looks like it's a bullish market structure. And what I expect right now, I expect some form of reversal in the near term or in the short term. I expect some form of reversal. And if I go to my 4 hour chart, this is the low that created this high. Okay, and this high created this low to create a change of character. Then this low was also broken, and you see the market has come back to mitigate the previous unmitigated supply. So why am I waiting for? Actually, this was a sell order. This was a sell order that I had shared in a different channel. This was a sell order. So if I come back to the daily time frame, what am I looking for? If this structure is broken, and also this structure is broken, I am recommending a sell limit is placed up here. And where do I want to exit the market? There's a demand zone seated here, unmitigated demand sitting here, and a fair value gap sitting here. So these are the regions where I'm expecting the market to settle at, around 19, between 19 and 20. But remember, if you, as I said, exotics are lucrative, but they're also punitive. So if you know how to trade them, well and good. If you don't know how to trade them, just leave this analysis alone. Euro GBP is the next item I am looking at. Euro GBP. I have a bearish outlook on this pair. We'll start with this is the 3-month time frame. 3 months time frame, and this is a high that formed this low, but the next high never broke the previous high. So automatically, what we are expecting, and I'm glad we are doing it on the 3 months time frame, you're seeing a fresh order block seated here, unmitigated supply. This is a unmitigated demand. Let me mark it as A4B. So this is a long-term target, 0. What is this? 0.74. Maybe this year, maybe next year, the market will be there. I don't know. We'll wait and see. And you're seeing there's a lot of imbalance here because you're seeing there's a lot of bullish momentum that has not been mitigated by equivalent bearish momentum. So we come down to the monthly time frame. Come down to the monthly time frame. You're seeing you have this 0.83 unmitigated demand. You have 0.72 unmitigated demand. But what you're seeing is that the market is sort of consolidating. It's sort of consolidating. And two things could happen. The market could push lower or the market could go higher, but my bias is that the market could actually go lower. And if I come to the weekly time frame, you're seeing strong bearish momentum that has been mitigated. And what is happening is that in the process, they left unmitigated demand seated here 0.85. This is on the weekly time frame, but if you go to the daily time frame, you find a lot of unmitigated demands on the lower time frame. But let's just focus on the higher time frame. You will see there is a change in character here. There's a break of structure. Actually, you'll see it better on the daily time frame. Allow me. So this is the low that formed this high, and that low has been broken. And whatever has created that break is seated up here, but it's sitting next to another daily demand structure here. If it breaks this structure, and the word is if it breaks this structure, my expectation is that this pair will come back to 0.89 or 0.894. I intend to trade at 0.89 instead of 0.894. 0.89 will be the aggressive entry, 894 will be the conservative entry. I mean, you can place an entry where you feel it's okay. But I was trying to infuse something in my analysis where you're seeing this trend line that has been broken. And this is the supply that has broken the trend line, and you're seeing the supply has been mitigated. So in the process, this low was also broken, but this is the supply seated here. And if you check carefully, this supply is not properly mitigated. Let me mark it. If I go to the 4 hour, you'll realize something. There's a supply seated up here that is not mitigated, the supply, but there's another supply here that is not really fully mitigated. We cannot say it has been properly mitigated. So there is a case for Euro GBP coming back to 0.89045. Again, we will wait and see. I would like to give a disclaimer that I am a swing trader, so I aim to catch between two to 5,000 pips per pair, and my analysis is largely long term. I don't mind holding a pair for a month or two, even 3 months. I have no problem holding on to such pairs or such kind of trading. So when you consume my analysis and my content, just beware that you're consuming content from a swing trader, not necessarily a day trader or a scalper. So for swing traders out there, then I think we have something we can benefit from the 4 pairs. As always, trade your plan, trade what you're seeing in the market. If the market does not give you validation that your setup is credible, then don't go chasing it. Thank you for your time, and let's go make some money.